Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. Welcome back to this channel named Inside Angle and to the next episode of this series named Going Beyond Marksheets. Today we have with us someone who is not just the talk of the city or probably the country, the talk of the entire world if I put it that way. Someone who secured All India Rank 1 in CA Final B22 exams. Someone who is now the record holder for the highest marks in CA Final new course with a score of 642 is CA Meet Anil Shah. Welcome to this channel, Meet. Really happy to have you over here. And thanks a lot for taking out the time.
Thank you, Devesh. Thank you, Devesh, for this lovely introduction.
So most of you would already know this, but for those of you who do not, Meet is from Mumbai and he secured an All India Rank 2 in CA Inter and now bang on with All India Rank. So without further ado, Meet, I think all of our audience is really excited to hear your backstory and understand beyond your mark sheet, how has your CA journey been, etc. So let's just get started directly.
Yeah, sure.
Really want to understand how did you plan to become a CA? How is it that the thought came into your head? That's one. And second is if you could give a slight introduction of yours, talk about where you did your articleship from, etc.
Yes. So first, beginning with how I decided to come into CA. So I was always good at numbers, and being good at numbers, I had two choices: either go into science or into commerce. But I was very sure कि numbers में manage कर लूँगा, but physics, chemistry, biology मेरे से नहीं हो पाएगा. It was like हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा. But I didn't want to. I can excel it if I put into it, if I put my efforts into it, but मुझे वो efforts डालने नहीं थे science में. So the natural choice was commerce. So from 11th standard itself, I started thinking about it कि मैं numbers को कैसे आगे लेके जाऊँ. So I had actually, I was also good at accounts. I was interested into finance, stock markets, everything. So I had various options. So three of the topmost options that came to my mind was either CA, MBA in finance, or actuarial science. Now I know actuarial science में you never know how long it will take. उसमें difficulty level कुछ ज़्यादा ही हो गया तो उसमें science type mathematics आ गया तो पता नहीं. मुझे तो statistics types mathematics ज़्यादा अच्छे से आता है. So actuarial science was a very secondary option for me. Then comes to MBA. Again into MBA, you have to apply for colleges. You never know what will happen. You need a lot of background for that. 99% के अलावा तो कुछ there's no point thinking beyond that. Either it is IM, A, B, C. उसके अलावा of course there are a lot of colleges, but you never know. IM, A, B, C is something completely different.
Agree.
So yeah. And the only thing left was CA. अभी CA में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि तुमने यहाँ से CA किया तो तुम यहाँ पे रह जाओगे, यहाँ से CA किया तो किधर से भी करो, तुम लोग किधर से भी कुछ भी आओ. It is completely about your efforts. It is actually a level playing field. But then again, I was having a second thought कि okay, अभी मुझे finance में, अभी मुझे numbers अच्छे लग रहे. CA के what after I become a CA? What if I lose interest into accounts and all? So I was again skeptical about it. So then I started getting into it कि what actually are the subjects being covered into CA. अलग-अलग fields क्या है. So everyone knows about कि audit है, tax है, GST है, ये सब तो सबको पता ही था. But a lot of people don't realize कि उसमें अभी तो especially into this new syllabus कि economics में भी इतना हम लोग inter CA पे cover कर रहे हैं. Information technology भी है. Of course not at a very great level, but a fair enough level. Costing इतने अच्छे से cover हो रहा है. We can get into management consultancy. Law भी अच्छे से cover हो रहा है. People do get into company law advisory. So there are various subjects. So I think so. By chance, if I lose interest into finance, accounts and all, I will still have some basic understanding of various subjects. So it will be very easy for me to change roles early into my career. MBA in finance में, I was not very sure about it. Maybe there are opportunities for them as well कि MBA in finance करके भी किसी और में जा सकते हैं, but I was very sure about it. And you know, CA it was like a very safe decision कि पता है CA बन के ना कुछ नहीं तो ना at least basic तो निकले, at least 2-3 साल तो निकल जाएंगे वापस से उसके बाद figure out कर लेंगे. So this was my thought process that started in 11th standard. This went into my 12th standard and just before my exams, 12th boards, I finalized कि हाँ exams खत्म हो गए उसके बाद directly CA का preparation में start कर दूँगा. And in fact, I remember 9th March 2018 was my last board exam. 11th March was my CPT classes first day. So it was everything very clubbed up. There was no, I think just one day I had just one day to enjoy for myself. उसके अलावा तो जो लास्ट एंजॉय किया था वो 10th के बाद किया था एंड ऑफ कोर्स 11th स्टैंडर्ड. उसके बाद तो पढ़ाई समथिंग एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर समथिंग और the other. So yeah, that's how I got into CA. Coming to my articleship again, so AIR2 था. So a lot of people first सबका thought process ये रहेगा AIR2 है तो definitely Big Four, Deloitte, KPMG, PwC.
Yeah.
Of course, even I was inclined to it. But then I think I should give credit to my friend for this. So he told me BKC में KNV करके है, वहाँ पे वॉक इन इंटरव्यू हो रहा है, जाके तो देखते. बिग फोर में मिलना होगा तो मिल जाएंगे, जाके दे देते ना एक बार. सो आई वाजंट वेरी श्योर ऑफ इट कि क्यों मेहनत करे. बिग फोर में अभी तो अच्छा खासा इंटरव्यू तो पहुंच ही जाएगी, वहाँ पे फिर इंटरव्यू क्रैक करने में मेहनत कर लेंगे. बट आई थॉट कि चल इतना बोल रहे हो तो एक बार जाके आ जाते हैं. सो आई डिड गो ओवर देयर. I credit my friend a lot for that. Unfortunately, he didn't get selected over there. I got selected. And the reason, so the department that they were offering me was international assurance. अभी उसमें कैसे, in that, I was majorly into US gap. If I went into Big Four, I would definitely get a lot of exposure into India's. Almost every top listed company would be covered into Big Four. India's ka bahut prime level pe I would get a lot of knowledge. And maybe to some extent, US gap also I would have got knowledge because for overseas subsidiaries. But there is no other option for as an article trainee to get into US gap IFRS. India's, so everyone gets into it. So I thought, let's do something unconventional. Let's take a chance and not go to Big Four. Let's take this risk. There was one setback that there was no brand for me because Big Four is Big Four. So that I thought, ke chalo risk leke dekhte. So I did take that risk. I did take that plunge, and main reason was कि US gap मिल रहा था वहाँ पे. International assurance. Everyone knows SEBI regulations. Everyone knows what listed companies are supposed to report into India, but hardly anyone would know what listed companies are supposed to report into US. What are the SEC regulations? Another interesting fact was in India, everyone knows just one auditing standards, ICIK essays. Yeah. But in fact, a very unknown fact to Indian chartered accountants is in US, in fact, there are two auditing standards. One is for private companies, and if you are auditing some listed companies or basically public companies, not even listed companies, they have a separate auditing standards. They are called PCAOB audit standards, Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. So this was very unique. People don't even know about it, and I would get to actually learn it, apply it practically. So this was something that attracted me. And of course, there were other options as well. But I think let's take this risk and let's do it. Kya hoga? I said the brand nahi milega, but kuch na seekh hi lege. Because no matter in which CA firm you go, you will definitely learn a lot. Whether it is a small size firm, mid-sized firm, or Big Four, anywhere you go, you will definitely learn a lot. So I thought, yeah, let's take this plunge. And that's how I joined KNAV, and I've done my entire 3-year articleship at KNAV only. I had some thoughts that I should go for industrial training, but then I was again very skeptical. Okay, what about my leaves? Everyone knows that industrial training mein the leaves are very hardly 3 or 4 months, sometimes not even 4 months, 2.5 months. So I wasn't ready to take that risk, and I didn't want to even postpone my attempt. So I stayed with KNV. I worked across US incorporated companies, US subsidiaries of Indian listed companies. I worked across India's, IFRS, US GAAP, to some extent even Canadian GAAP, US audit standards, international audit standards, US public company accounting standards, then even into accounting advisory. So like we have India's 115, there is IFRS 15. Similarly, US GAAP has ASC 606. So implementation of that. I had also very different opportunity. So it was a very, not a client assignment, but it was an internal assignment. We had to actually try and implement artificial intelligence for our audit software. Ooh. So that was a very unique opportunity. So me and my manager were actually into the implementation phase. We had to do it on a trial basis for few of our regular clients, and we had to analyze whether the results were actually useful for us or not. So again, that was another interesting opportunity. So yeah, that is about articleship.
I think I have to make out 3-4 things out of all that you said. One is you are a very structured person. जो भी किया वो बहुत सोच समझ के किया, etc. And the second point is you like to take calculated risks. So one is you like to take risks, like you want to go for unconventional choices, which I'm very happy about. Rather than going with what people say, rather than following the herd, you followed your own thought process and went about it. And second, you took calculated risks, both while taking CA as your choice and both while opting for your articleship. So I think that is, I feel that is a very good thing about you, that you had that clarity of thought both while actually opting for CA as well as your articleship from. And I think both of them worked in your favor in terms of you getting an audit rank 1 and 2, you ending up getting such a great, rich experience and exposure. And in fact, for the viewers, if you don't know, he opted for GFRS as his elective, and he ended up getting a very good score, in fact, an outstanding score of 90 marks. Which is, I would say, very difficult to get in the subject of elective. I am not even sure the last time I would have seen 90 or more marks in an elective, to be honest. But yeah, so, and I think probably totally attributable to your clarity of thought, your unconventional, then your calculated risk, that probably you are recording this interview with me. But yeah, really happy and glad that you have had such a rich experience throughout your articleship and throughout your CA journey. But one thing I would like to say, you mentioned that CA was a safer option. And I really like the way you looked at it, because baat to CA, if not finance, you could have gone into law, you could have gone into, let's say, something like an audit, would have gone into something like a GST, something like, let's say, an unconventional choice, something like forensic audit, information technology, etc., etc., like you mentioned. But it's very contradictory to how people see it. People feel she is not a safe choice because CA बनना guaranteed नहीं है. But this guy was like, क्या CA बनना तो पता ही guaranteed है. Now you're like, CA में करना क्या है वो खाली सोच रहा है. But I really liked your approach, and I think this is the mindset difference that really is there probably between a ranker and, let's say, someone who aspires to be a ranker but just misses by an inch or so. I think this is the mindset that creates all the difference.
Yeah.
Picking up from your, in fact, talking about the mindset part of it, see enter AIR too, right? I think ये story हम सबने सुनी है कि यार जिसको ब्रॉन्ज मेडल आता है वो सिल्वर मेडल वाले से ज्यादा खुश होता है because वो 3 वाला 4 वाले से जीत के 3 आया है, जबकि 2 वाला 1 वाले से हार के 2 आया है. And no hard feelings over here, but I'm sure वो 2 वाला थोड़ा defeated feeling आया होगा. What was that mindset when you actually saw All India Rank 2 back then in Inter? What was the mindset back then immediately when you saw Inter का result? उसके बाद did you immediately decide I want to aim an All India Rank 1? How did you accordingly aim to prepare for the 3 years for your CA final? Please tell us.
So coming to on the day of result, first of all, I wasn't very confident about my preparation. I knew I would definitely pass. I knew that I would definitely score above 500. But back in Jan 2019, I had some health issues. So that is when I lost confidence. And of course, I wasn't expecting any single digit rank itself. So again, AIR2 was something very unexpected for me. And that in itself was a very happy feeling for me. Then of course, naturally, I checked who is AIR1. After checking AIR1, I checked his score. It was a very huge difference. So honestly, I feel कि मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा मेहनत कर भी लेता. There was no way I could have covered that 60 mark gap was giving up paper number 9. There's no other way for me to cover that. So I never had that feeling कि नहीं मैं 1 से हार के 2 आया. I thought कि 2 आ गए वही बहुत बड़ी बात है. But another happy feeling was कि बहुत कम margin से the margin between AIR2 and AIR3 was 2 marks. Between AIR3 and AIR4 was again 2 marks. And then I think there was some more 5 to 6 marks का gap. So that was a very relieved feeling कि just for 2 marks के लिए मैं आ गया. Yeah. Just even if I had lost 2 marks anywhere, क्या पता हो, you never know. Yeah. Maybe AIR2 but वो tie हो जाता है. And again it would have been AIR2 but being the sole AIR2 is a completely different feeling. So I never had that कि कुछ नहीं AIR1 से मैंने बोला कि वो extra paper देखा है मेरे को नहीं एक paper में मैं खुश हूँ. So that was the mindset at that time. But immediately after that, the natural expectation from everyone कि अभी तो AIR2 अभी तो तू AIR1 के लिए मेहनत करेगा. In fact, when I joined my articleship, a lot of my seniors, they said कि हमारे लिए तो CA फाइल में तू ही AIR1 है. 60 marks तू कुछ नहीं तो अगली बार 9 पेपर देके आना, CA फाइल में AIR1 लेके आना. But back then itself, I decided that I don't want to think about it because rank is just too much pressure. I would definitely tend to lose my focus from understanding the concepts. Trying to just clearing my exams would have been a very big challenge for me. So back then only I decided that rank AIR1 to chhod, not even any of the 50 ranks I was aiming for. I was just aiming for clearing exams in first attempt, and of course with a very good, not just 400, but trying to get as many marks as possible. Maybe trying for 100 in some subjects, maybe trying for 80 plus in some theory subjects. So I decided then itself that AIR1, AIR2 kuch bhi nahi, becoming CA in May 22 would be my sole objective. Now coming back to my preparation again, immediately I realized that huge mistake that a lot of people do is they tend to lose touch with their books. Articleship join करके everybody thinks कि नहीं articleship कर दे. one and a half years we'll put in 100% into articleship, सब कुछ सीख लेंगे क्योंकि there is no point doing just study. थोड़ा you do need some practical exposure as well, because you will definitely clear by mugging up. You may not clear CA exams, but what after that? After that, you have to get into the world. You need to have some practical experience. But there is also another point, of course, you need to give a lot of time to your articleship as well. But once you lose touch with your books, once you lose that rhythm, getting back that rhythm in the last 1 year, 10 months, maintaining it during the last 6 months, and ensuring that it lasts till the last date of exam would have been very difficult for me. So I did keep that in mind, and I decided that I will join the early bird batch. Immediately, I think my articleship started in September 2019. By mid-October, I was into my CA final classes. Of course, it was just a weekend class, of course, 6 to 7 hours over the weekend. But after that also, it was not just joining classes. I made it a point that even if I'm not able to do some extra on my own, at least before my next class, I'll revise whatever has been studied in the previous week.
Yeah.
This will ensure that throughout my 3 years, 2.5 years before my actual preparation, I'm in touch with my books. Of course, there were times during 2 years, you know how CA firms are, the due dates, the deadlines. There have been many times when 2 to 3 weeks at a go, I was not able to even touch my books, let alone revising something, doing extra on my own. So that time, you just have to accept it. You need to just try and cover as much as backlog you can do over the weekend whenever you get public holidays. Sometimes when you are able to log off early, and this is when COVID kind of helped me. Since there was lockdown, everything moved work from home, and in fact my office was very far from where I reside right now, so I was able to save a lot of time on my commute, not just while going to office, even while going to class. And I decided, okay, let's capitalize on this save time. After, if it wasn't for work from home, I would come back home from office, I would have to relax, I would have to dinner and probably fall asleep, even if I used to take a book in my hand. But since I was sitting at home, how we work, sleeping, sitting, so that is about an obvious fact. So I wasn't very that much tired, and this ensured that I'm able to capitalize on whatever time I'm saving to the 50% of that time, 40%, 60%. And this kind of really helped me out. I stay in touch with my books. I know throughout the 3 years, I know that see abhi tak khatam nahi hua hai. This is just articleship. This is not my job. I still need to stay in touch with my books. There is still CA final, even though there is COVID. May 20 is being postponed. May 22 might not be postponed. So I need to keep on studying, even if it is 1 hour, half an hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. I need to look at my book every possible day. So that was my preparation during articleship. And of course, 6 months to everyone knows it. It is just studying, 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 studying. You tend to lose a track of time. Sometimes you tend to forget which day it is, whether it is Monday, Friday. You don't even know the dates. You just know कि हाँ बस अभी CA final में 1 महीना बाकी है, 2 महीना बाकी है, 3 महीना बाकी है. That's it. Dates भी बहुत बार भूल जाते हैं. So yeah, that is about articleship and preparation during that time.
Very, very true. Very nicely put. In fact, really impressed with the way you've been putting things. I think three takeaways for the audience. I think takeaways for me as well. I think the fact that probably you thought of it, कि यार ninth paper दिया है उसने मेरे को नहीं देना. I don't want all India rank. It was the perfect way to think about it, because that's how you will be very happy about the feat that you've achieved, which is obviously not a feat that anyone can achieve easily. That very rightly said, and I think kudos to Akshata as well. वो 60 marks का gap था तो इधर regret it. There's no scope of regret. So yeah, I think rightly put, and more importantly, what you said was very important. The fact that people would create that expectation, but you had to keep in mind not to get carried away by those expectations and actually think of not probably, and like you said, कि May 22 में CA बनना is important, not rank, yeah, not a single digit rank. I think that is the one target that everyone should be. I'm not against targeting ranks. I honestly feel one should definitely target ranks. But what I feel is often rank के pressure में आके, like you said, people get carried away and ultimately end up not getting a rank, which creates all the more disappointment, and you don't even end up enjoying the fact that you've cleared CA in your first attempt, etc. And the third part where you said, and I feel you were very planned in your approach in the sense that you knew कि पहले दिन से start करना है, 3 साल का ही time. You capitalized even 10 minutes, like you said. And I think that is a great takeaway for the audience, that you need to keep that target के first attempt में ही clear करना and proactively actually start preparing. Whether or not to get a rank is probably a byproduct, I would say. But to put in those efforts is definitely something that is on your hands. And the live example is in front of you, despite the fact that, and I'm not saying he would have not targeted AI on kahin na kahin back of the head hota hi hai. But the point over here is still not taking that pressure in his head. He's here as All India rank 1 with the highest ever score as yet. Coming back now to see final result, I think 7:45 a.m. on 15 July 22. Probably that is when you would have seen the merit list and read that number as 1. What were the thoughts? So first of all, कब खोला result? Who asked you to open the result, etc.? Who told you about it? सुबह unexpected होगा. Yeah. And what is the immediate result seeing 1?
So obviously I wasn't aware that, no one expects that ICA would release results so early in the morning. Everyone was expecting that 3 p.m. 2 p.m. के आसपास आएगा. So similarly, even I had planned that, what, I'll have my lunch by 12 p.m. itself. उसके बाद I'll just wait for my results. What if my results come during my lunch? At least lunch तो करके बैठते.
Right.
I planned everything. I will have breakfast at this time. I will have lunch at this time. And after that point of time, I will not reply to anyone at all. I will reply everyone only after my results.
Yeah.
But I had my daily routine set. So I wake up, I have a bath, I freshen up, and then I read newspaper. Similar to that, similar to every day, even that day, I just picked up my newspaper. That is when I got a call from one of the Central Council member, Preeti Savla ma'am. So she was a ex-WRC chairperson.
Yeah.
Now she's a Central Council member.
Yeah.
So she started congratulating me, and from my reply itself, she understood that I was completely clueless about it, or clueless about my rank, let alone that the results had come.
Yeah.
So I was saying, okay. So two reasons why I couldn't believe it. First of all, AIR1 I wasn't expecting at all.
Yeah.
Honestly, after papers, I was very sure that I would clear in first time itself. But having a single digit rank, or rather any rank itself, was I never built any expectations around it.
Yeah.
Before papers, during my preparation, during exams, or even after papers, I made sure that I'm not creating any expectations for that. So that was the first reason why I couldn't believe it. And second, the most obvious reason was because itne jaldi results kabhi nahi aata.
Kabhi nahi aate, yeah.
And there are a lot of people who like to play pranks. This is the right person to play prank. Isko AIR 2 aaya tha, abhi AIR 1 ke prank karte.
Yeah.
So these were two reasons why I couldn't believe it. But since I've met her during my inter CA felicitation, I could recognize her voice. I had spoken to her at that time as well. And another assuring factor was she quoted my exact marks. You scored 642 out of 800.
Oh.
And someone who is doing prank would never be able to think about that much. So that is when I started believing, okay, I've actually cleared, I've secured AIR1. And she just congratulated me, and she told me, you know what, take your time, let the feeling sink in. You check yourself the result, and then you might be able to believe, and then we'll surely speak again. So as soon as she kept call, I switched on both of my laptops, my personal laptop, my office laptop, जिसपे भी पहले दिखे उसके ऊपर देखोगा. And then I was still typing my roll numbers, my registration number, my PIN code, and I started getting calls. Another Central Council member. I think Dheeraj sir would be the second member who wished me. And I'm still speaking to him. I'm checking my results. I'm saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I couldn't tell him that हाँ मैं अभी तक results देख रहा हूँ. In fact, and that's when my mom returned back. She was actually in Temple. She wasn't at home. My sister wasn't at home. She's in US right now. And in fact, I couldn't even tell my mom. I was on call. I told her, okay, I just gestured, okay, first time aa gaya. That is the only thing that I communicated to her about my result. As soon as I kept the call, then I video called my sister. I told her, and of course, then the feeling was completely different. And before we could actually discuss something more about it, I could speak anything with my mom. The call started. Central Council members, people from office, HR team from my office, some of my friends, and across the India, one or the other people or person was back-to-back calls. Newspapers started calling, and in fact, I think till 10 p.m. there was no time to talk to my family at all. Just 5 to 10 minutes I could spend with them. I just told them कि हाँ ये result आ गया है. मेरा roll number ले लो, आप भी check कर लो mark sheet. You only check yourself. I don't even have time to communicate my marks in this subject. These many marks I scored. And just in fact, one of my best friend called me. मैंने बोला कि so even he was doing CA. He told me that he cleared. I told him that मुझे AIR1 आ गया. अभी बस बहुत बात हो गई. तू मुझे रात को call कर. That's it. We'll talk properly. If you try to talk to me, I wouldn't be able to give you a lot of time. So I told him, you call me 10:30 p.m. in the night. We'll talk properly for an hour. But congratulations to you too. And I just had to ignore him. I didn't like to ignore him, but there's no other option left for me that time. And there were two other best friends, non-CA friends. I just texted them कि cleared AIR1. That's it. उसके बाद I think till 10 p.m. I didn't reply to any of their messages. Time ही नहीं था. Hardly I got some time to have my lunch. I took some time out to have some dinner. There were relatives coming in, calls from relatives to me, to my mom, and that's how the entire day went.
I think,
and yeah,
this day must be, this will be etched in your memory for a long time to come. For the entire life, I would say. You won't be able to forget a single moment. And I can very much relate to this moment. I remember मेरे को भी calls आ रहे थे, and I was like, okay, thank you, दूसरा call आ रहा है, I'll call you later. And then back to back calls. I got 80 calls despite the fact that I got 13. I'm sure you would have got 800 calls, man. But yeah, that must have been great. And in fact, again, having said that, thanks a lot to you for making up the time in just such a short period of time. Really means a lot for me and the entire audience over here. So I think jumping to the next question before we run out of time, the next question is, how do you plan your study leaves? I mean, broadly, कब lectures खत्म करने का सोचा था? You knew that you were getting 4 months or 5 months of study leaves, etc. How was it that you planned?
So we had a firm policy that this is the earliest date that you would be able to go. So accordingly, I knew that on this day I would be going for my CA final leave. And accordingly, I had planned कि इसके पहले ही मैं अपना GM से ITT करूँगा, so I can take a leave from my firm. And that is when, you know, obviously no one is able to put in 10 hours, 12 hours in the initial leave itself. So I know if I'm having GMCs in the morning, उसके बाद even if I'm able to study for 4 to 5 hours, I know कि I will at least be into that rhythm for studying for longer hours. So I made sure that December would be my CA final leave, official leave. उसके 1 month before I will complete my GMCs ITT. And one thing I had planned that, you know, I was trying to complete all my lectures by October 31st. So that the day I go for my GMCS leave, I will be able to, you know, full-fledged start with my first revision, second revision, whatever I want to do. Maybe going back to some of the lectures that I might have forgotten. Anything that I want to do, I just kept that buffer of November, and December would be final full-fledged. No wasting time here and there. But unfortunately, I couldn't do it. So my last lecture ended on December 5th. I was pretty late. A lot of my friends were way ahead of me. In fact, that was the officially when I completed my lectures. There was some lectures that I had completely forgotten for SFM, because SFM was the first subject that started in October 2019. I had completely forgotten. I couldn't even recollect by reading my notes itself. So luckily, I had the backup with me even in December 21 itself. So I had to refer back to those lectures again. So December 5th became December 10th, and officially from properly I started studying from December 11th itself. Then, of course, from my experience from InterC, I knew that without planning, without having a proper timetable, there is no way I will be able to clear this, let alone expecting good marks or rank or anything else. So I made sure that I prepare my timetable before I start preparing for it. So one thing that I did was I started preparing my timetable backwards. So I was expecting कि exams May 1st को हो जाएगी, अभी कुछ lockdown, अभी कुछ second wave, third wave कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. So I was very sure about it कि my exams will start from second May, sorry, not first May, second May itself. So I know second May would be my FR paper. So I would need 3 days for FR. Now FR के बाद SFM है. So I might need some theory to do just before FR, so that I can recollect it immediately after FR. So this is how I started preparing my timetable backwards from May 1st till December 11th. I tried to fit in my practice papers, my third revision, second revision. I was quite aware that there will be some concepts in each subject that even after doing 3 revisions, 4 revision, I will never be able to retain it. So I kept buffer for that as well. So there will be 2 concepts which I need 10 revision, maybe 12 revisions. So that is how I was trying to keep some buffer, writing some papers, again revising, then again doing some writing practice. What if I'm not able to complete something on time? So again, buffer for that. So my initial plans, so that is how I did. On a broad basis, I was targeting to complete each subject in 7 days itself. So Monday I would start with FR. I would try to complete FR by Saturday night. I know it is not possible to complete it. I would extend it till 12 p.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m., and then 2 to 5 I would try to write a paper.
Got it.
Yeah. After writing first paper, I realized that I was way too confident कि अभी तो एक हफ्ता अभी पढ़ा है FR, 3 साल FR, 3 साल accounts किया है. फिर भी hardly I think I scored just 60. It might be a very good score for a lot of things, but I wasn't expecting 60 for myself because it was an ICI level paper, obviously. Those were the questions that I had seen somewhere, similar questions. The main problem that I faced was not being able to complete my paper.
Yeah.
That is when I realized, you know what, even after studying for a week, there is a high possibility that almost everything, almost more than 50% I would have forgotten everything. 50% तो पूरा कुछ याद ही नहीं होगा. The remaining 50% I would be able to recollect some part of 10%, 20%, 30%. So that is first time when I tried to update my timetable. Still, I try to target completion in 5 days, revising the entire subject again on Saturday, and then try to, again, some difficult concepts, as I said, trying to revise those just before I write a paper. Of course, I was able to do this for SFM because, of course, you might be very well aware of it. The syllabus in SFM is very minute. I think after law, in practical subjects, SFM has the least amount of portion, and in theory, law has the least amount of portion. So I was able to do this for SFM. I was not even close to this when I started doing audit. I hardly completed my audit portion one time itself, but obviously my paper was very bad. Of course, I was demotivated. Again, I had to plan. So again, I was not able to cover some things, so I had to plan out that as well. So again, I had 2 options. Either after writing paper, I spend a Monday on audit, or I try to complete law in time. I give that paper for 2 to 5, and then again 7 to 12, I cover the remaining part of audit. So that is how that. So I had 2 options. I had to take the risk. Again, here I had to take the risk. So I did. So law, I was very well able to complete by Saturday night, and I was able to, go back to some of the concepts, some of the sections, revise it, and then attempt the paper. Again, this paper was good. And after that, I was able to cover some parts of audit again. So again, so this is how group one went: one paper good, one paper bad, one paper good, one paper bad. Same thing happened with group itself. Costing. Everyone knows how much the theory they ask. Practical, though, it was very easy. I was able to complete very fast all the practical subjects. But again, theory, just like audit, I faced issues over here as well. Again, I wasn't able to complete a lot of things. So, and after audit, after costing comes elective paper. So I was able to capitalize a lot of time. I was able to save and capitalize on that by investing into costing. And the advantage of selecting GFRS was there was nothing much new to study. It was very high level, but there were hardly any new concepts. And especially for me, because for people, US gap is a new concept. For me, US gap is just like going back to my working papers. That's it. So there were some things that even I hadn't done during my articleship, but it was easy for me to understand all those concepts because I know how to deal with US gap. I know how to interpret US gap. So that is when I was able to save a lot of time. That is when I was, so two advantages. I didn't have to do anything new in that, and I was able to save a lot of time. And by doing paper number 6, I was also revising paper number 1. Again, in 7 days, I was covering 200 marks instead of just 100 marks. So that was a very big advantage for me. So again, this I was able to complete in 5 days itself, because honestly, there was nothing to complete. It was just practicing the case studies. You might be very well aware of it.
Yeah.
So the moment I was done with GFRS, again, I tried to cover costing. Same like group 1 DT. You were again completing itself in 7 days was a very huge task. But again, I had one advantage. My last class to get over was DT itself. And during DT itself, I made it a point that I'm revising whatever case laws I want to revise. I'm trying to retain all the concepts, especially all the amendments. So that was an advantage for me. So that because of that, I was very close to completing my syllabus within 7 days itself. Of course, there was some things that I couldn't complete, and of course, I covered it after IDT. So group 2, one paper good, one paper bad, and that is how the entire group went. And then after that, I decided, okay, you know what? Now enough of doing all of this. I'll revise for half a day, and then I'll try to do writing practice. Because personally, I'm a person who remembers better after writing it. So I used to do writing practice at that time. After that, I tried to give again second mock test in the ICI format, just 1.5 days. Now this made me, I knew that I was definitely, I'm not going to be able to cover the entire syllabus. For some subjects, I would be able to cover, for example, SFM, law and all, but audit, FR, DT, I was very well aware of it. But my only objective was to understand in how many hours I'm able to cover in my second revision.
Yeah.
Obviously, by exam, I would have done 3 revisions. So I know some concepts I could skip. I need not revise at all.
Yeah.
So this gave me a timeline. Okay, so my exam is on Monday. I know what I'm able to cover on Saturday night, what I need to do just before my exams.
Yeah.
That is how I plan to give mock test. And of course, some papers again went good. Some papers again went bad. Some papers I got really good marks. Some papers really bad marks. And that is how I planned my second mock test as well. After that also, and by that time, we had received the news that exams had been postponed already. So from 2nd May, it had become 14th May. So the day when this new schedule was announced, I again made it a point that I extend everything by 13 days itself. I try to move my entire timetable by 13 days. And so that is when I decided, okay, you know what, since my exams were on 2nd May, I had decided to skip this ICI material. Now, since I have those 12 additional days, I will include this as well. It could be any past paper, it could be any past mock test or RTP.
Yeah.
So again, after second mock test, I decided I was still doing some writing practice. At times, I was writing for 8 to 9 hours a day. Because I know if I don't write, I will never know how I'm able to complete how much. So again, so this is a very unique point, not unique, a very something that I put a lot of thought behind was audit papers are not that tough. The questions are very straightforward. When you look at the question, okay, hi, this question is from this chapter, and for this question, this is the content that ICI has done. But for 5 marks, you don't know how much you're supposed to write.
Yeah.
If, for example, if they are asking how will you vouch advances, how you will vouch advances, but you still need to know how much you're supposed to give to the examiner. You know the content that could fill 10 pages, but you cannot spend 1 hour in just for 5 marks. So writing practice ensure that I know, okay, if question is for 5 marks and this is the type of questions, I know what I have to write. If question is on professional ethics, I know what has to be the drafting of my question.
Correct.
So that is why I need a lot of practice, not just for theory, even for practical. Everybody, so for FR, almost everyone is good. Everyone knows how to solve. Almost people are able to crack almost 80 to 85% of the paper. But everyone misses out on how to complete the paper itself. Everyone knows कि okay, consolidation में पहले balance sheet बनाना है, उसके बाद ये account बनाना है, goodwill का account बनाना है. Everyone knows that. But you also need to know. So classes, professors will give you a lot of working notes, but you need to know what is relevant for exams. In fact, there is a possibility that you might actually make extra working notes.
Very
And
true.
then that is required for exams, because something that gives you an additional assurance. You know what, this is the, if I prepare working this way, this will give me assurance that my goodwill calculation is right, and if I prepare this working note, then this will make the examiner happy. And this is the case I actually did in my FR paper. So first question was obviously on business combination plus consolidation. I had prepared two workings for goodwill. One was the actual the way we should in a proper debit credit type account, and one was in the vertical format, ICI format. And when both of the, and this actually helped me, vertical format, I was very sure that this answer is correct. When I did that balancing figure wala approach, I realized that my answer was wrong over there.
Oh.
And entire when I was preparing, when I was revising, I had done this balancing figure wala approach.
Yeah.
So luckily that was very, of course I had to spend 10 extra minutes over there, but that did help me. That gave me an additional assurance that now definitely my capital reserve goodwill amount definitely correct.
Correct. Yeah.
So writing mock test, writing, you can appear for mock test outside. You can in fact write mock test, evaluate yourself. But it is very important to, for according to me, it is very important to have writing practice. So that is how I was trying to do. And of course, I lost a track of time a lot, many a times. It was my mom used to tell me, abhi bas, abhi, it is high time that you should take a break. At least take a 5-minute break, 10-minute break, just take a power nap or something, just have something. But you tend to lose a track of time. Once you reach towards the April, when you have your May attempt, once you reach April, no, you don't even want to track your time. You don't even want to rest. Actually, you have that feeling that I'm missing out on 1 hour of my preparation. What if this 1 hour is the deciding point whether I'm at 399 or 401?
Yeah.
So that is how my preparation went.
I mean, really, I don't have words to express how impressed I am with your entire methodology of planning, such so systematically, and actually even implementing. I mean, even the intricacies like you mentioned, के law के पहले audit करूँ, law के बाद audit करूँ, 7 से 12 करना है क्योंकि 2 से 5 paper लिखा, etc. I'm really impressed, and I think two takeaways from for the audience. I mean, obviously each and everything that you mentioned is a takeaway. But if I'm to, emphasize on two broad takeaways that I take from here is, one is planning is extremely important and not be emphasized much. That's one. Second is not just planning, but good planning. The planning that you can adhere to, the planning that would be helpful to you, like in case of me, if I'm to put it that way, 7 days, 8 subjectly, and actually try to implement it and actually achieve it. And the third is, if I'm to say, writing mock tests, obviously everyone might have a different subjective choice. Someone might write 4 mock tests, कोई 2 लिखेगा, कोई 1 लिखेगा, कोई 8 लिखेगा. But the point is to, what is very important is to gauge your writing speed, to check what places are you going wrong. Like Meet said, let's say audit में पता होना चाहिए कितना लिखना है versus नहीं लिखना है. SCMP में पता होना चाहिए कि theory कैसे लिखनी है, क्या लिखनी है, which definitely will be an issue. And I could very much relate with me when he was saying, यार audit और SCMP में मेरे को भी बहुत बड़ा issue आया था. So one thing I was worrying about is कि यार अगर मेरा CA final नहीं हुआ clear, will be because of either audit or SCMP or both. वरना clear हो जाएगा. I'm so damn sure. So that's the thing. You need to know what are your strengths, weaknesses, and accordingly act on it. Like he actually, I wouldn't say he had any weakness, but despite that, made sure all his weaknesses would become his strengths. Made that additional efforts of writing, doing that writing practice, etc. And again, systematically planning that each and every thing so as to. And I figured one thing, you're very good with dates, by the way, 11th December, 11th March, 9th March, etc. That is very much like me. Also like remembering dates, etc. But yeah, so yeah, I think great. I think this was very helpful for our audience, and I'm sure the viewers would have noted all of these points. Now, the next question, I think the last couple of questions before we close, and we'll keep it quick. How do you, how do you think of your CA journey apart from being an all-India ranker?
So one very specific point for me would be articleship, like I described. So again, I already described my experience, US GAAP, IFRS, India. So that is one thing. Second thing that I realized was I never, for various reasons, I never was able to get into that CA conferences, allocations, moot competitions. So I always used to regret, okay, you know what, this is something that will always be missing from my CA journey. No matter what rank I get, no matter how successfully I clear, no matter how many marks I score, but this is something that will definitely be missing on my part, and it is still missing. But luckily during COVID, I got an opportunity to get engaged with another group of people. Of course, not something on in terms of competition, but I got an opportunity to get engaged with Vision CA. So it is basically few chartered accountants came together. They formed this Vision CA group. They try to bring in rankers from various levels. It could be foundation, it could be inter, it could be CA final, it could be some contemporary CAs, it could be someone from industry having their own practice or anything. And we also try to bring in CA aspirants. They could have any type of query. It could be managing your articleship with your studies. It could be making your own timetable. It could be how to accept your that you failed this attempt and prepare for the next attempt.
Yeah.
It could be in fact as small as subject specific query के ये सब में ऐसा क्यों किया है या फिर ये सब में ऐसा क्यों नहीं किया है. So that is when I realized that apart from studying, apart from becoming a CA, it is also important to get to know other CAs. Connecting with other CAs was very important. And I had already lost on that opportunity early after my inter CA because I had not attended various CA conferences, various competitions. And of course, during pandemic, even if the competitions are organized, it will be definitely be virtual. So there will be not that type of connect that you get into face to face when you meet. Probably if I had joined, if I had visited any CA conference, we would have been friends much earlier than becoming friends right now. So then I realized that this is my opportunity to reach out to other CA aspirants. They could be from my batch itself. They could be from an earlier batch. They could be from a later batch. So that is when I joined Vision CA. It started with my first seminar. Actually, my first seminar for CA aspirants and first seminar of my life, when I tried to guide November 20 people just mid-COVID of how they could appear for InterCF in terms of preparing their own timetable and various aspects. So I think even Akshat was with me. So I was there, Akshat was there. There was another Akshat and few other rankers were there. So that is how I started connecting with other CA aspirants. And after that, I also realized it was something I personally used to like was preparing test papers for others, checking because I know that I could create a lot of questions. I used to whenever I used to read anything, whether it was inter CA or whether it was final CA, I know okay, this is the adjustment how ICA is asking. I know that I can tweak this adjustment even more.
Yeah.
I can make this more tricky. This could be definitely trickier because everyone is covering ICA adjustments. No one is thinking beyond that. Of course, a lot of professors try to go beyond that as well, but it is not being tested anywhere. So I always personally used to love preparing test papers. And I thought another way how I could actually communicate to CA aspirants how to write papers, because writing exams is an art. It is not just about how much you've learned, how much you know, but it is also about how to present what you know. So that is when I started also started with my own solo venture kind of giving test series to CA aspirants. So it was just restricted to CA Inter because I myself was a CA final aspirant. And CA Foundation, I was not very aware of how ICA is testing everyone because personally I was a pretty student. And there were some subjects I was not very aware of it. So even if I start a test series, it wouldn't be right with them to giving them a test series from someone who is not himself experienced. So I was just restricted to CA Inter students. I think I prepared for Jan 21 attempt people and July 21. After that, I had to focus on my studies itself. And I think for a few of my friends, I did for December 21 as well. But and then I stopped completely because I had to focus on my studies. And again, I didn't do anything for November 22 because I feel it is too late for people to decide and opt for my test series. Because again, I also had some office commitments. Again, then this results, because I was very sure once the results are declared, no matter what rank I get or whether or not I get a rank, again I will be very busy. Yeah. So I would not be able to give the people that much amount of time to improve their presentation, their preparation and all. So I decided, okay, May 22 and November 22, I will take a break from this test series ka solo venture kind of, and maybe I'll again resume back for May 23. So that is apart from AIR.
That is great, I would say, giving back to the society and especially doing what you love. I think, like you mentioned, you like preparing those questions, etc. And a lot of people will look up to you for guidance, and you've been rightly giving that guidance, which probably is very great of you. And a lot of it we've witnessed in this 40-45 minutes video as well. So really happy, and trust me on this. While you may have missed on conferences, the bottom line is you need to. So why I always keep advocating conferences and stuff like that is I feel every CA student. So the thing about CA is given the fact that it's correspondence course, CA students are not able to meet people beyond their articleship form. And I feel which is a very wrong thing. The reason college life is college life is because people get to meet each other and interact with each other. That's the thing that is probably missing in a CA course, which conferences etc. compensate for. But in your case, if you've already networked so well through Vision C etc., I don't think you should regret about not going to conferences. But yeah, definitely. Having said that, if you would have actually come to the Sri Lanka conference where me and Akshat met, we would have met before. But nonetheless, it's never too late when we met.
Definitely
About it. So I think before we end, I think just the last question has been very busy for you. I'm not sure if you've had enough time to give a thought to this. But what next from here? Where do we see meet Shah next?
Yeah. So you might be very well aware of it that a person who just clears CA, and especially after rank, that to a single digit rank, there are a lot of opportunities available, whether in terms of career, whether in terms of higher studies, or anything basically. So just similar for me also. So my articleship is ending this month or probably mid next month.
Yeah.
So again, even I'm sound with a lot of options. Yeah. Whether I should go for higher studies and not do anything right now, or I should do a job and after that higher studies, or a job and along with that simultaneously doing higher studies. If I want to go into a job, whether as part of CA firm, use my experience of articleship and take it ahead, or join industry, maybe as a finance professional, maybe as a consultant. So obviously, there are a lot of choices open to me right now in terms of studying. A very a very typical or traditional way for a lot of CA rankers is to try for IIMs. So yeah. even I am having that thought process, but again, I'm not very sure about it. So as of now, I'm just putting all the options, listing down all the options. I'm looking at each option like, okay, if I select this option, this is where probably I will be 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line. This is what I would be doing. And then I think, okay, if this is what I'm doing 15 years down the line, do I actually want to retire doing that? Or do I want to do something different? Of course, in terms of compensation, financially, something socially as well. If I do something back end office, then of course there is a least amount of social life. I would be just staying within my office people. If I go into something front end, there's a lot of interaction with clients, various people. So right now I'm just evaluating finance professional, consultant, CA firm, industry, a very popular management trainee, higher studies, doing both of them simultaneously. Maybe something of my own, maybe practice, maybe nothing of these sort, maybe starting something of my entire business itself. So I'm with a lot of options, but right now just evaluating and just trying not to take any decision in haste and under influence of anything. So yeah, just evaluating right now.
I think the problem you are facing is a first world problem. It's a problem plenty, but it's a good problem to have, I would say.
Yeah.
You should take your time and decide very judiciously as to what you want to do. But one thing I can say for sure is whatever you do, wherever you go, and I'm sure wherever you are, 10 years, 15 years down the line, we will definitely see CA Meecha as one successful CA out there who will definitely be quoted as examples in a lot of times to come.
That is very sweet and kind of you to say that, honestly.
But I do genuinely have that feeling about you, given this 45-minute interaction, the clarity of thought you've been having, the confidence you have in yourself, which I feel is the most important out of all the things. Definitely, you will go a long way in whatever you do. And I think thanks a ton for spending this time with us despite your busy schedule. But like I said, I can assure you, all of your inputs will definitely go a long way in guiding the C aspirants out there and motivating them to give their best, plan well, and probably aspire to become like CA Meecha.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks a ton to your viewers as well for taking out this time. I hope you watched this entire video, though this video is very long. If you've reached till here, I'm sure there is a lot of enrichment in your heads around how to prepare and a lot of other aspects that we mentioned. So thanks a lot. Do mention your views in comment. I would say thank Meet in the comment box for giving his valuable time. Do like this video.
Special thanks to Devesh as well for actually taking this initiative of speaking something unconventional, something that is not being covered by a lot of people, and taking time out by himself from his busy schedule itself. So I think a very big thanks to Devesh as well. From my end, I think from everyone, there should be a very big thanks to Devesh.
Thanks, Meet, for acknowledging it. I'm really happy to do this because I have actually seen people benefiting out of it, and there's really, most people do not know the backside of what an AIR1 is. What is there in front of people is just that mark sheet which reads 642. But what we need to do is actually go beyond that mark sheet, and which is why the name of this is going beyond mark sheets. But thanks a lot. Very sweet of you to acknowledge that. Really happy about it. To all our viewers, thanks a lot for watching. Do like this video, do share it, and do subscribe to this channel. Thanks a lot, everyone.